While we all face stress and pressure in our lives, have you stopped and thought about the difference between stress and pressure? How do you handle pressure? How do you deal with stress? Let's answer these questions in this week's video. When it comes to stress and pressure, the difference is one of perspective. I believe pressure comes from external factors, and our ability to handle pressure determines whether or not it turns into stress. For me, I see stress as pressure that has been internalized. And when pressure becomes internalized, stress begins to influence our mental and physical actions. So my first tip would be to look at pressure for what it is. For most people, pressure is often seen as negative. But in my opinion, pressure itself is neutral and is a natural part of life. It's actually up to you and your attitude towards pressure, which deems it to be positive or negative. As I mentioned earlier, pressure comes from the outside, from your boss, from society, peer pressure, from financial pressure to pay off bills and mortgages, school fees, etc. But there is also another type of pressure that is self-inflicted. Remember, pressure is not always a bad thing. In fact, as human beings, without pressure, there is no progress. If you look at pressure as motivation and as a way to grow and move forward, it becomes positive, productive, and proactive, as opposed to being a passive and negative influence. So what causes stress? Certainly, one of the biggest sources of stress is doing things we don't enjoy doing, or doing things that doesn't improve our position in life. Doing things that's outside our capability can also cause stress, especially if there's a tight deadline. Another source of stress is related to something Jeff Bezos of Amazon once said. Stress occurs when you're not doing what you're supposed to do. When you delay and procrastinate, knowing that you should be doing something, it can be one of the most stressful situations. So to eliminate that, try and discipline yourself to do what needs to be done and start working on the things you should be doing. For me, I try to avoid using the word stress in my life because I interpret it as my inability to handle pressure. Next time you get into a high pressure situation, try to immediately flip it into a positive. Maybe that pressure is an opportunity to grow and show value in your workplace. Maybe the pressure is your gateway to take a bigger step. As you force yourself to think like this more and more, you'll begin to realize that stress no longer affects you the same way as it used to, just by changing your frame of mind. After leaving my diplomatic career in China, I could only get a job delivering pizzas in Australia. Dropping from respected diplomatic status to delivering pizzas, a lot of people would consider that to be a highly stressful situation. But personally, I was never stressed out because I knew I was pursuing my own dreams in a country of opportunity and no longer working for an establishment. My future was no longer in other people's hands, and I could take full responsibility with the freedom granted to me, even if I was only a pizza delivery boy. Even though delivering pizzas was not the ultimate job I wanted to have, instead of feeling bad about it and being riddled by stress from not being able to find a better or proper job, I decided to feel grateful for what I had, which is another way to deal with stress. Feeling grateful for the opportunity or pathway you're on can be extremely enlightening. Instead of feeling stressed out, turning pressure into motivation is a way to improve your capabilities to handle whatever life throws at you. Over time, like me, practicing turning pressure into motivation can also bring satisfaction. My last point would be, for situations where you can't handle pressure, make sure you talk to someone. If it's pressure or stress at home, talk to your partner, talk to your children, and communicate with them about how you feel. The same applies to work situations. When you experience moments of stress, you can always talk to your leaders, friends, and mentors to help you see things for what they are. I'm sure that no matter the situation, someone out there will be able to help you out. With all that being said, remember this: with the right perspective, pressure is no more than blessing in disguise. Acknowledging that pressure is part of life and linking it to your life goals will help you develop your capability to deal with pressure and prevent you from falling into a period of stress. Thank you so much for watching this week's video. And if you like the video content, please give us a like. And if you think the content can benefit your friends, please share the link with them. And also remember to subscribe to the channel for more content to come.